Alright, motherfucks. It's your boy the hater, alright? Let me tell it to you like this, alright? Let me tell it to you like this, motherfucks. This country is losing every battle it's in, culturally speaking. For some reason, I don't know why, one of my friends starts telling me about this new musician named like Octavio Rodrigo or Olivia Rodrigo or some nonsense like that, right? Some horseshit music. I hate that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Oh, it's like this broad singing about like, it's sad that I broke up with my boyfriend. Like, shut up, you're 18. Get over yourself. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, in doing this, my friend tells me, he says, Hater. He says, Hater. She's like number 1 or number 2 or number 3 on the Billboard. So I'm like, the fuck, I don't believe this shit. So I go and check the Billboard, and she's not number 1, she's number 2. But guess who's number 1? BTS. Now, why is that important? BTS obviously has a certain appeal globally, right? In the US, they obviously have an appeal. They have the number 1 song. And in Asia, I know they have an appeal as well. And I get it. Nothing wrong with that, motherfucks. Here's the problem, though. I don't think BTS would have the number 1 song 15 years ago. Because 15 years ago, BTS would have to compete with people like, I don't know, Nelly, Britney Spears on her first comeback, Rihanna, hell, even Beyonce, you know what I'm saying? They would have to compete with some actually talented musicians. And thus, they would not be number 1. However, when you have to compete against people like Harry Styles and Olivia Rodrigo, Octavia Rodrigo, whatever the fuck her name is, and these other dumbasses, it's easy to become number 1. Think about it, motherfucks. What would you rather see? Harry Styles in a dress singing about some horseshit, or BTS singing in a different language basically, or in ununderstandable English, but at least not wearing dresses and being somewhat presentable and charming? Obviously the answer is the latter, right? This all goes back to what I always talk about, which is cool things no longer exist. We now have to import cool things from other parts of the world. Now, I know this has always happened, but it has not happened this much ever, motherfucks. If you consider the West, quote unquote, like the Anglo-Saxon West, the Anglo-West, if you will, Canada, the United States, and England, and possibly Australia, as one cultural entity, right? Like, nobody cares that Justin Bieber is Canadian, right? Like, he doesn't feel any different than an American would. Neither does Harry Styles, who's from England, right? Because culturally, our pop culture is the same in these places, right? But in Japan, in Korea, in other parts of Europe, like Italy, for example, it's completely different, right? You're not going to see an Italian hit song in the United States because primarily the language, also the culture, but the language isn't the same. BTS, on the other hand, just like the other Koreans that made that movie, Parasite, which was overrated but pretty good, they're out here winning American awards. And a lot of people are pissed off. I don't know why. It's not like BTS did anything wrong. BTS is like, oh, I see that your entire country is making horseshit music. So I'll make music that's a little bit less horseshit and win your awards. Why wouldn't I do that? Right? Why wouldn't everyone do that? The point is, America is losing the battles and they've made it easy to compete in everything, including music. A foreigner it should be the other way around, motherfucks. America is the one that exports its culture. American songs, Mariah Carey becomes number 1 in Japan. Not BTS becomes number 1 in America. But America, the culture has become so depraved and perverse that it's impossible for anything good to come out of this country, right? Like musically or cinematically. It's just not feasible anymore, motherfucks. Look at all, like the last 5 or 6 super famous next big thing musicians. Apparently this Rodrigo broad, right? Before her it was Billie Eilish, right? More like Billie I-ass, am I right? Before that it was fucking Lord, right? Then it was Adele. Then it was a bunch of jobbers basically. Nobody wants to see any of these broads. These people have 1-year career written all over them. Where the fuck is Billie Eilish, right? Or Billie Eilish, whatever the fuck her name is, right? Where's she at, right? She made her 3 horseshit songs. They were all garbage, hot garbage. And then she's gone. Never to be heard from again. Remember back in the day in like 1999 or through like 2000, 2003, where people were consistently famous, where like Britney Spears was consistently famous. You know, like she was just famous and mainstream the whole time, and then like they would push the album for like a year, and then by the time that album was getting stale, boom, next album, motherfucks. Remember when, like, even as near as Shakira was consistently mainstream, you know? But you cannot make Billie Eilish consistently mainstream because she's not mainstream to begin with. She's shit. BTS, another example. They're consistently mainstream. Just when you think these cocksuckers are getting stale, boom, another hit song, right? Boom, another #1. So that's what I'm saying, motherfucks. There's people that are consistently famous and people that are flash in the pans. I haven't heard Lord's name since the South Park episode that buried her ass. Right? That's where Lord's at, motherfuckers. She hasn't done anything since then. All of these jabrones are no longer interesting. And this is the latest example of that. You see people, you see these motherfuckers, like BTS, coming over and being like, oh, this market that previously no one ever entered, we're going to enter and dominate it. Now, there's two explanations. What I'm saying, that's one explanation. Or the other explanation that some people are going to point to. BTS is just that damn good. No, they're not, motherfucks. No, they're not. What's so great about BTS? You know, maybe in Korea, that shit gets over real quick. But as far as I'm concerned, it's the same like hacky nonsense we've seen with boy bands here. Just a dance number, singing like girls. BTS even looks like girls. You know what I'm saying? With wearing makeup and dangly earrings. And all this other weird shit. This other weird 2020 shit, you know? What happened to cool things, motherfucks? But anyways, I digress. The point here really is that America needs to get it together. America used to be the worldwide leader on what's cool and what's hip. No longer is that the case, motherfucks. No longer is that the case. People are now looking elsewhere to fulfill their musical needs and their movie-going needs. And it looks like, you know, they're looking at Korea specifically. Korea's kicking ass, good for them. I've always enjoyed Korean movies, you know, big fan. Check out Old Boy, motherfucks. But the point is that we need to do something about this. Otherwise, our musical future is not going to see anything different. It's just going to see Korean interpretations of American shit like boy bands and pop music. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody got time for that, motherfucks. But shout out to BTS for doing what they need to do. Speaking of which, did anyone hear about that one guy? He's some English guy. His last name is London, which is hilarious because he's an English guy whose fucking last name is London, and he got like facial reconstruction surgery to look Korean. Specifically to look like one of the BTS guys. I don't know them by name because I'm not a nerd. But he got surgery to look like one of the BTS guys, and like, man, he looks Korean now. He looks Asian, you know? Like he changed his eyes and he bleached his hair. So like he looks like straight up like a K-pop dude, right? And it's fucking weird as fuck because his last name is London. And now this man with a relatively straight face looks at a camera and says, I'm Korean because I identify as Korean. How fucking insane is that, motherfuckers? How fucking crazy is that? You don't have to be anything now. You just have to pretend you are. And there it is. It just happens for you, motherfuckers. Forget the fact that Koreans have a certain culture and a certain legacy and a certain this and that, right? And this guy just takes it, you know? Where are all the liberals at, motherfuckers? Where are all these liberals at that get pissed off at me when I eat Ethiopian food? You know, and they say like, oh, white people eating Ethiopian food is cultural appropriation. What about white people becoming Asian, motherfuckers? Is that not cultural appropriation? Is it not literally taking someone's culture? This guy literally goes around and says he's Korean now. You know, I just eat Ethiopian food and I'm like, oh, this tastes like shit. I'm never eating it again, let's say, right? And people are like, oh, you've appropriated Ethiopian cuisine. Shut the fuck up. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about Ethiopian cuisine or anything else for that matter when it comes to food. I eat what I like, motherfuckers. So that's what I'm saying, right? That's what I'm saying. This motherfucker appropriates like the race of an entire country and an entire people's. And people are like, wow, yeah, you could definitely, race is just a construct. You can identify with whatever you want. Well, if fucking race is a construct, what the fuck is food then? It's literally something you construct with your hands based on your culture, right? That's what food is, motherfuckers. That's what cuisine, I should say, is. You know? And I made that shit. Of course, I didn't make it. I'm not going to go make Ethiopian food. Who the fuck would do that, right? I'd go to the Ethiopian restaurant, right? But I make sushi sometimes. I don't give a fuck. I'm waiting for the day a Japanese person says, or it wouldn't be a Japanese person. It'd be like some white liberal. Be like, you're appropriating Japanese culture. I'd be like, yeah, and I don't give a fuck. What are you going to do about it? Do something about it then, motherfucker. Do something about it. That's what I got to say about that, you know? Like, I got into a conversation once. This video went from pop to cultural rant, motherfuckers. Deal with it. So one time I was talking to one of my friends. She's one of my best friends now, but back then we didn't really get along. And she got mad because I was saying that like there was this white girl back in the day. This was kind of a big story, you may remember. And she wore this Chinese dress to prom. And all these motherfuckers, it was all these white liberals basically. They were like, oh, you're appropriating Chinese culture. The Chinese Twitter, whatever the fuck it's called, they have their own Twitter app. They were like, yo, she looks great in it, good for her, we're happy she's doing it, right? No Chinese person was offended. But some white liberals were offended that this broad, right, was wearing a Chinese dress for prom and she was white. And I thought to myself, what the fuck is that all about? And me and my friend were discussing it, and my friend says, she says, hate him. She says, hate him. Yeah? She's like, if you accept someone's culture, if you take one element from someone's culture, you have to take and respect all elements. And I said, hell no, I don't. I don't. You know, I like Chinese food occasionally, so I'm going to eat Chinese food occasionally. That doesn't mean that I'm going to adhere to China's one-child policy, motherfucks. I'm going to look at that and say it's horseshit. I don't like communism either, being that I come from a communist country, so I'm going to look at China's communism and be like, no, this is horseshit, but I think I'll keep your pork fried rice, because I like that, motherfucks. I will pick and choose to my heart's content anyone's culture. I don't particularly like the fact that Japanese people, I don't know, commit war crimes once in a while, but I like sushi, I like Pokemon, so I'm going to eat sushi, and I'm going to play Pokemon. And if you don't like it, you can suck my ass. What do you think of that? That's the way I look at cultural appropriation and pin this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I'll appropriate whatever the hell I want. What are you going to do about it? Do something about it. Do something about it, motherfucker. You know, the people in my life, like if I want to wear a fucking kimono, I'm going to wear a fucking kimono. And if some asshole, if some white liberal with dreadlocks comes to me and says, you shouldn't wear that, I'd be like, suck my dick. Well, that's what I think about that. I'll wear whatever I want. If I want to take off the kimono off and take a shit right on it, I'll do that too. Nobody can stop me, motherfuckers, and nobody can stop you either. You can do whatever the hell you want. People need to stop with this cultural sensitivity. Shut the fuck up. Let people live, motherfuckers. If you eat sushi because you like sushi, doesn't mean you have to be okay with the concept of harakiri and the concept of hikitomori, people being shut-ins, and herbivore men. You don't have to be okay with that. No, motherfuckers, you pick and choose what you like. That's the beauty of globalism. That's the one good thing that comes out of globalism, is that I can take your kebabs, right? I like kebabs. I'll take your kebabs, but I'm not taking your stoning women part of the culture. You see what I'm saying? I'm not doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe that women should be forced legally to wear a hijab. I think that's a horseshit rule, motherfuckers. What do you think of that? People are like, oh, that's culturally insensitive. Fuck it, I hate their culture for that. Simple as that. I like certain parts of their culture, like the kebabs. You know, I like hookahs. You know what I'm saying? But I don't like subjugation of women. And I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that, oh, because they do it, we have to understand it from their cultural lens. No, fuck that. It's primitive, it's savage. I don't give a shit what anyone thinks. That's what I think, motherfuckers. So there you have it, bitches. You know, if someone ever comes up to you with this culture appropriation bullshit, just point to the Korean, to the English guy, to the white boy who decided to be a Korean and say, I'm culture appropriating. What do you think of this guy? And then corner them with their own logic. Because no liberal has the balls to say that this guy is fucking weird, you know? No liberal, and when I say liberal, I don't mean classical liberals, I mean like these leftist fucks, you know? These fucking hall monitors walking around and just waiting for you to make a mistake so they can like get you in trouble. These fucking assholes, you know? Probably the worst types of people in the fucking world are these liberals. I swear to God, motherfuckers. These fucking liberals, the ones that wait for you to make a mistake, you know? They wait for you to make a mistake and they pounce. Like, I saw him, he made a mistake, you know? I'm not a racist, but this guy said something racially insensitive. Oh, get him fired. Oh, yeah, there he is, everyone. Aren't I a good liberal? Aren't I a good spy? You know, these motherfuckers, these people are the lowest form of human. You know, they're right there with murderers and rapists, in my opinion. I'm not even exaggerating, motherfuckers. These people are predators. These are the people that back in World War II, if you were a Jew and you were trying to hide somewhere, these are the motherfucks that would come and say, there he is, there's the Jew, I found him for you, Hitler. These are the same motherfucks. It comes from the same fucking place. But now, they're even worse, because now they take a moral superiority. You know what I'm saying? Like, believe me, motherfucks, if they were in World War II, these liberals, the same ones that say, get this person fired, get this person canceled, these are the same motherfucks that would say, put this person in the gas chamber. Same fucking thing. It comes from the same place. This idea of like, I'm gonna fit in by ratting out other people. So these motherfuckers, as far as I'm concerned, if God is real, These people, they're gonna meet God, and God's gonna be like, no, motherfucker, hell for you. That's what's gonna happen. I have no doubts if God is real. That's what's happening, you know? So there you have it, cucks. There you have it. Culturally appropriate all you want. It's not a dirty word, you know? People appropriate other cultures all the fucking time, motherfucks. All the fucking times. Pants are a very European thing, motherfucks. Jeans are a European thing. That doesn't mean that if you're black or Asian, you shouldn't be able to wear jeans. No, you can appropriate the white dress code, right? And then wear jeans if you want. Same way, motherfuckers. If I want to have braids, even though braids like are, you know, cross-cultural, like everyone's had braids, Asians, whites, blacks. But if you want to have braids and you're afraid because like some liberal is gonna get mad at you for having braids, be like, yeah, I'm gonna wear braids and you can kiss my ass. What do you think of that? And if they yap on one more time, just say, do something about it then. Do something about it. And of course they're not gonna do shit because they're pussies, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I gotta say about that, motherfuckers. We started talking about pop music, we started talking about America losing the culture war, but now all of a sudden we're talking full-on liberal rant, motherfuckers. Yeah, and we'll do another one of these probably sooner rather than later, motherfuckers.